Hi guys, I'm Avash and today I'm gonna be doing a storytime video. And this storytime is particularly scary for me and I just want to put my experience out there so that you guys can learn from my mistakes. And even though if it wasn't such a mistake, I was so close to my death, which is kind of really sad if I think about it. But yeah, begin.
Hey, I had my exams and something happened, I was busy or something, so
My exams were going on at that time and I think it was like around the middle time of the exam. So the next day I think I had chemistry or physics. I think I had physics. So okay, so I had a lot to study for physics. So I was just done with the paper that I was giving and I was like, okay, I need to go home. I'm going to take a cab back home, like whatever, right? So I go out. So I got a cab. I was like, okay, I need to go like da place, right? Like, can you take me there? And I was like, yeah, okay, sure. So I got in. So there was a lot of traffic that day, so I was just like thinking inside the cab, like, okay, like after what am I gonna do after exams? I have like 7 days holiday, I think. Like, I think I need to start a YouTube channel, like whatever, right? I was like, okay, like what's the thing that YouTubers do? Yeah, they do story time videos. I was like, okay, but like what crazy story do I have that I've experienced that I can share? It was like me asking for God for a dramatic story, and God was like, okay, here you go, you can have this one. It was something like that. The same day, the same incident, the same cab, right? Okay, so I was thinking that it was a lot of traffic, the guy was weird, like, he smelled like cigarettes, like the vibe was not really good. Let's just keep it at that. So, I was inside the cab, I was thinking all that, I was going to my house, and the guy, he was shady, he was talking weird, like, he was, like, calling and driving, and I think he was also under the influence, which is, because the smell, I don't know, I'm not for sure about that. So, I got to my home from that weird-ass taxi drive. Oh, I totally forgot to mention this. While I was inside the taxi, the guy was the taxi driver, the cab driver, was randomly waving at strangers. Like, it was strange, like he didn't know them. Like, I'm pretty sure he didn't know them because all of them, he waved for like, I think he waved to like 3 people, and like, none of them really responded. One of them even gave this look, like, that look. Waving to, I don't think those people know you. Anyways, so that, it was a very shady, it was very weird. It was the weirdest taxi experience I ever had. So, I got to my home. And then I got to my home, I was like, okay, like, what's the price? Like, whatever. I look at the meter, I just gave him the money, I took the money back, like, whatever. All the normal stuff, whatever. And then I got out of taxi. While I was still talking, I was like, thank you, have a nice day. He didn't respond, like, whatever. I opened the cab door, and I had my head look at if I left my phone or whatever, because you have to check if you leave something in the cab, right? Like, I should have done that before I got out, but I just didn't. The cab, I opened the, I mean, I didn't never close it, so it was open. I was just like looking for it, anything. I was just checking if there was any random stuff that I left inside or whatever. I was just like checking. The weirdo taxi driver, he decided to drive without the door even closing while my head was, half of my body was still inside the cab. My battery had to die. Story of my life. Anyways, the cab door was open here. I hadn't even closed the door. My head, my half of my body, like my, okay, like this part. This was inside the cab, and half my body was outside. And the cab driver, without even his cab door being closed, decided to drive with half of my body still in it, the head part. And that point, if I had my earphones, okay, here's the thing, I always have my earphones on, like, I don't know, it's just me. But that day, somehow, like, I forgot to take my earphones, so my earphones were not with me, so I was not listening to any songs, right? So I heard, like, that sound of the car. I just pulled back. What am I doing? Anyways, okay. Pulled back, and the cab driver, without his door, like half one of his doors still being open, like drove off. What? If I had not taken my head out, my body would be ripped in half. Like, I would be, and after I took my head out, I was like, everybody on the streets were just like looking at me, like they were like, oh my god, like there were these two old ladies, they were like talking about me. I could see because they were looking at me and talking about me. I was shaking at that point. I was like, I have never been this close to my death before. And we people, like we humans, somehow always pretend that we're invincible, and when we hear accidents or stories like this, like we're always like, oh, like that's not gonna happen to me, like that's never gonna happen to me, or like, oh, that's just someone else's story, like that's not gonna happen to me. It can happen to you. You can die. You can. We're mortal. Yeah, so okay, it can happen to you. So my advice for you guys, if you ever decide, for not just cab, for any other vehicle ride, just once you get off and you just check your stuff. I mean, it's kind of common sense if I think about it. Just check your stuff before you get out. Once you get out, just shut the door and let it wide open. It was kind of really my fault, but not really, because I've not really closed the door, and that driver just decided. It was not really my fault. I could have died. And then when I got home, I was like looking at my dog. I was like, oh my god. And I even questioned my existence. I studied so much for that exam. I was like, I studied so much. Like, why did I study so much? Like, this could have been like the last day of my life. I was in front of pages of paper is made out of trees. So I was literally staring at dead trees the night before the last day of my life. Why would I want to stare at dead trees? Another advice I have for you guys is to live your life just happy, just live every day, every single day of your life, being happy, smiling, and just don't stress out on life, because we're just mortal. That's it for today, guys, and this is my first video, so I hope you guys liked it. Please give it a thumbs up if you like it, and please give it a thumbs down if you didn't like it. Subscribe to me if you want to see more of my contents. Don't subscribe to me if you don't want to see me anymore. It's okay, I could roll with whatever. I'm just doing my thing. I just want to put it out there, you know. So that's my story, and if you guys want to hear more of my crazy story, or just if you guys just want to see more of my videos and stuff, please subscribe, and like, if you like it, just please like it. And I will see you on the next one. Bye, guys.